Ashley, have you ever eaten a worm before?
Absolutely not, Parker. That's gross.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's for sure gross.
How do you know?
Listen, I was 7 years old.
No, you ate a worm?
Everyone was doing it. It was at soccer camp. My coach was doing it. It was a big fat juicy night crawl. I rinsed it off first.
Oh my gosh, no. What did it taste like?
It's not chewy, but it's kind of like, I don't know, like gelatin? Kind of like Jell-O. Yeah.
Oh,
It's not like flavor, it's more of a texture. That's what I remember, though.
Oh, gosh, that's literally crazy. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, and this is a perfect segue to our species for today.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
We're talking about the western meadowlark. And in case you forgot, I'm Parker.
And I'm Ashley.
Ashley and I are going to rate the western meadowlark on a scale of 1 to 10 in a variety of categories. We then average our scores to get their wild rating. First up, mobility. Mobility. It's how they move. Western meadowlark do not start off very hot.
Oh, man. What'd you give them?
They're getting a 4. And it's because they kind of fly funny. Have you ever seen them fly?
I'm trying to think about it, and I think I've seen it before. Don't they just kind of like flop around weirdly and like glide?
Yeah, there's some gliding in there, but it looks like they're using every little bit of muscle they have to try to keep that kind of like bulbous round body off the ground. So they're trying very hard and not going very fast or very far.
So they're just awkward when they fly?
They're just awkward. It's not very graceful.
Oh, that
a
sucks.
4 is probably a little generous, but I like meadowlarks. I don't know. What did you give them?
So I'm going to give them a 6, and I'm getting a little creative on this because it's mobility and how they move. So western meadowlark are short distance migrators, meaning they don't go very far. They don't fly far south like a lot of other birds, like down to the tropics or anything. A lot of them actually stay in Wyoming year round. And Wyoming is pretty harsh. So I think it's really cool that they actually don't move very far and could tough it out here in the winter.
Short distance migrator kind of feels like code for they don't migrate at all.
I mean, I said many of them do stay here year round.
Yeah, but it's good that they can tough it out. That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. So let's fly on over to size. Size is how big and how small, how short and how tall. We care about them all. So western meadowlarks are an incredibly average sized bird.
Yeah.
They're like 8 inches tall, basically the size of a robin. Like if you ever use a bird ID book or app, it lets you pick what size bird it is. And if you just pick smack dab in the middle, there's your meadowlark.
Yeah, I feel like when you think of bird, it's that size.
Exactly. So because of that, I am going to give it the most average rating, which is a 5.
That's super fair.
What about you?
I also gave them a 5.
No way.
Yeah, I know. I just like everything about their size is average. They do have long legs compared to their body size, which kind of plays into staying on the ground and how they feed for insects and things like that. But not like really long legs, not like a heron.
So they're not incredibly long. There's no like reason for it. Just to make them a little awkward for their flying. Yeah,
a little awkward for their flying. They're a little better on the ground. Very similar to a robin, the world's most average bird.
That's fair. 5s all around.
Let's hop on over to accessories now. Accessories are those special characteristics that our animal has. For western meadowlarks, I'm going to give them an 8. So we're up. We started low. We're coming back up.
I was going to say, that's pretty high.
Yeah, and it's because of their nests. And they are kind of like little architects with their nests. And they build their nest with a roof.
Oh, okay. So is this nest like in a tree, on the ground?
So it's on the ground. It's a great question. And normally it's just like in a little depression, sometimes even like a cow footprint they'll build nests in.
No way.
Yeah, and then they cover the top of it with like a little grass roof. And sometimes the entrance to the nest, depending on how big the depression is, can be feet long. So like they have a little grass roof over feet of this entrance, and then they have like a little runway they take off from and fly out of.
That is really so sweet. It's like a little airplane hangar.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you give them?
So I gave them a 9.
There we go.
I went even higher than the 8. And the reason is their call.
Oh, yeah.
Their call is so sharp, shrill. It's so recognizable. Can we have a listen? See, whenever I hear that, I just think about being out in the middle of some sagebrush on a sunny day. You hear a meadowlark just let their call go, and it makes me happy, and I think that their call is very, very, like I said, recognizable.
Yeah, it's odd. It's like there's something warm and happy about that specific bird sound.
Yeah, it goes with their, I'm kind of getting ahead a little bit about the color they are, but warm and sunny. We'll leave that tidbit out there. With that, let's swing over to style. Style, it's how attractive they are. Do they have any special colorations? So speaking of coloration, Western meadowlarks are so pretty and they really stand out, which is why I'm giving them a 9.
Wow, really high.
I know, super high, but they deserve it, okay? And here's why. They're kind of a black and brown pattern on top, which is a little boring. I'll give you that. But that speckled top transitions to this white with brown spots in the middle. And then by the time you get to their underside, they're just bright yellow from their throat all the way down through their belly with this really striking black V under their neck. And when they throw their head back and call, it's really striking.
Hey, you're stealing mine.
What?
All right. I'm just going to go because
All
you
right.
started to go into mine. I give them a 6.
Oh, okay.
And it's because of those positions they take when they call. A lot of times they'll stand up on these posts or wires and they do just like, hey, here's all of my pretty colors and my pretty song
And
all at once.
Does that like make their song travel further or anything? Is that why they stand up high on things?
You know, I'm not sure. I think it is a bit of a mating thing of like it projects their song farther, but I'm not entirely sure.
And I guess if they're really easy to see then with their distinct markings, that makes sense.
Yeah. And their song is actually a way you can distinguish them from their cousin, the Eastern meadowlark. They look very similar. They're both very pretty. They both have that yellow, but the Eastern meadowlark song is much more consistent, whereas that Western meadowlark has that, like you said, it's kind of like a shrill.
It's very fluty. It kind of
it's very fluty. It
goes
kind of
all
like,
over.
and it almost sounds different every time you hear it, but it's recognizable. So I'm giving them a 6. And with that, let's sing our way over to Intimidation Factor. Intimidation Factor is how scary is this animal to other animals or to us? You know what? I'm going to change this rating as I'm looking at it right now. Is that allowed, Ashley?
Sure. You haven't even said it yet, so I don't even know what it is.
That's true. Okay. I'm going to make it a 7. And on the surface, follow me with this, okay? On the surface, Western meadowlarks are like most other songbirds. They eat insects, worms, maybe. And that's very normal. And so maybe that deserves a low score. But they can actually be really excellent at managing pests on crops.
How do they do that? What pests?
So Western meadowlarks a lot of times will group up, especially when they're not in the breeding season. So there'll be a bunch of them at once. And they don't really eat crops at all. They're really specialists on insects. And so when they get into farmers' fields, they can really do a number on things that farmers don't like.
Nice. So farmers should really want to have Western meadowlarks around.
Yeah, Western meadowlark groups are really good for farms. And so that's worthy of a 7. They're scaring the insects.
All right. They're intimidating to insects.
Yeah.
Well, I gave them an 8, and that's a pretty high intimidation factor for a songbird. I'll give you that. But sometimes they eat the eggs of other ground nesting birds. So,
Wait. They do what?
They eat other birds' eggs. And that's pretty intense, right?
Dark.
I know. And so, that's taking it a step up. Some other birds will, lay their egg in another bird's nest to try to make them deal with the parenting stress. But no, they will go as far as to eat the eggs of other birds that they can get to. So that's pretty intimidating. And then when they're really desperate for food, they'll even eat roadkill, which intense because there's cars nearby roadkill as well, right?
Yeah.
But I just think that's a pretty hardcore thing to do. So I'm giving them an 8 for intimidation.
Yeah, like little flying coyotes.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's wing it over to Razzle Dazzle. Razzle Dazzle are unique features that no other animal may have. I'm going to give the Western meadowlark a 4. It's not, super high, and here's why. So the Western meadowlark is the state bird for 6 states, including Wyoming, North Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oregon, and Montana.
So it's like us and our neighbors.
Everyone in the Mountain West, yeah. And so I'm sure they were picked because of their charismatic presence, But if we're talking about what makes them unique, if you're the state bird of 6 states, that's not super unique.
Yeah, I guess that's not really great.
What'd you give them?
So I'm giving them a 7. They have this really cool behavior that actually all members of their family do. They're in the blackbird family. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. And so all members of the blackbird family have this behavior where they create holes in the ground or dead trees by kind of poking their beak in and then just opening their mouth.
And why do they do that?
So they do it to look for insects.
Oh, so it's to find food. So they have a really unique way that they can get food?
Yeah, and they're just like instead of like a woodpecker where they're like bashing their face against a tree or the ground or whatever, they just have a more subtle, elegant, whoop, there's a hole now.
I
Are there
really
any bugs
like
in there?
that. That seems like a much less headache-inducing way to get your food.
Just simpler.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our wild rating, which is the average number of points given for all the previous categories. Can I get a drum roll, please?
Their wild rating is a 6.5.
Not bad, State Bird.
I know. Higher than I was expecting, to be honest.
Now that we've learned about the Western meadowlark, you may be interested in getting out and experiencing them in nature. There are a few options, but before you head out and do these activities, always keep your safety in mind. Never approach wildlife, and that includes Western meadowlarks. You never know where those grassy covered nests are going to be, and so you wouldn't want to stomp and crush a bunch of eggs. So make sure you give them distance, especially when you're going out and trying to enjoy those songs. Ashley, how can we get out and enjoy the Western meadowlark?
So one great way to enjoy birds in general would be bird watching. You want to check the weather, be prepared, like you were talking about with safety, wear the right clothing for the weather that's predicted. Bring some binoculars if you can find some to help stay a safe distance away from those birds. And then I always struggle with identifying the birds when I see them, but I found that if you download some free apps, are there any that you like to use, Parker?
I like Merlin a lot.
Yeah, that one's really good. There's also iNaturalist or the Audubon Bird Guide. And the cool thing is you can enter the features of any birds you might see into these apps, sometimes even take a picture of the bird on your phone, and it'll give you a list with pictures and different features of what bird you might be seeing.
Yeah, and then some of these apps actually keep track of which birds you've seen, and you can track how many birds you've seen over your lifetime.
Yeah, that would be super cool to start a list of all the birds you've seen. It's like a scavenger hunt in nature.
Yeah.
So if you want to find Western meadowlarks specifically, I would look for them in open meadows, just like their name suggests, on a fence post, a big sagebrush, power lines, and bring a camera because if you're lucky enough to see one, you'll want to capture it in a photo. Parker, I don't know about you, but I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I feel like I have like a new appreciation for Western meadowlarks.
Same. I'm already looking forward to the next episode. Are you?